It's that time of the year. It's cold and flu season. Two viruses that take over not just your cells, but also your mission. The New Year's goals that you set for yourself for 2024. Your ability to exercise, read, journal, hug your family, socialize, be productive. The list goes on. They are arguably two of the most painful viruses to contract because they often, in particular with colds, don't make you totally bedbound, but act as a parasite, nuisance, tormenting you. So here are the tools to reduce massively your chances of ever contracting a cold or flu virus, again, synthesizing Dr. Andrew Huberman's podcast on how to avoid colds and flus. So let's start with colds. First of all, let's uncover a couple of myths about contracting a cold. Number one, there is no cure for them once you have them. Number two, cold temperatures aren't the cause for a cold. So when your mum says, put a jacket on, otherwise you're going to catch a cold when you go outside, she's actually wrong. She's not telling the truth. You don't catch a cold by getting cold outside. A cold virus is spread by sneezing, breathing, or by someone else breathing, coughing, or sneezing into their hands and then touching a surface that you touch before touching your eyes or mouth to self-infect. What makes this so easy to do is the fact that cold viruses can survive on surfaces for up to 24 hours. So how do you avoid colds then? Because avoiding coughing and sneezing is not enough. You avoid a cold by understanding that 1. Your skin is a barrier to viruses entering and infecting. 2. The two primary entry sites for a cold are the eyes and mouth. 3. Touching your eye region is the most common way to contract the virus. If you touch for example, door handle that has a cold virus on it, i.e. from someone that's had a cold, maybe sneeze into their hand, maybe just breathe on their hand and then touch the door handle. When you touch that door handle, you do not immediately contract a cold. That's not how it works. What happens is you open that door and then you touch your eyes. You contract the cold virus via your eyes and your mouth. So it's the process of doing that, maybe rubbing even your eyebrows, anywhere around the eye area or your mouth are the openings of contracting the virus, because your skin is actually an organ that protects from viruses. It's a barrier to viruses and actually has antibacterial properties, antiviral properties on it. Another way of contracting a virus, which is very common, is after shaking somebody else's hand. Now, once again, you don't contract the cold virus by shaking someone else's hand.
Dylan!
You contract the virus by shaking someone else's hand, saying, nice to meet you, sir, ma'am, whoever it may be.
Bitch.
And then, subconsciously often, doing this. Or just that. A singular touch is how you contract the infection. And according to studies, you are most likely to touch your face, in particular the eye region and mouth, after shaking someone else's hand, after meeting someone for the first time, which always, more often than not, involves a handshake. It's actually an evolutionary subconscious thing that we do. Whenever we meet someone for the first time, we shake their hand and we sniff our own hand to gain an insight as to how stressed they are, what kind of person they're like, whether they're at ease, comfortable, stressed, and so forth, to sort of gauge who they are and how they're feeling. We sniff our hands, and in the process of sniffing, we often touch our eyes and mouth, the two openings. So how do we avoid the transmission of the cold virus into our bodies? The answer is an awareness. Conscious awareness that you're most likely to touch your face after a handshake will help reduce your chances of touching your face after that handshake. And on a side note, although I don't want you to get weird with this, okay, I don't want you to be a germaphobe, one of those germ freaks, but using hand sanitizer, hey, I mean, that does avoid the problem. So if it is the peak of cold season and you meet someone, for example, in the gym who's you can tell is sweating a lot, maybe coughing, maybe not, first of all, obviously avoid touching your eyes and mouth, but second of all, maybe just a little dabble of hand sanitizer. Just get a small tub. Let me show you the tub that I have in my bag here somewhere. Get one of these, very small. I'm not sponsored or anything, okay, don't come at me in the comments. Just dabble a little bit, put it back in your pocket, really quick, like before anyone's seen it, okay, because you don't want to be that guy, but you don't want to get sick as well, so it's up to you. I'll leave that one up to you. Now moving on to the flu. Here are some necessary things that you need to know. Getting a flu jab reduces your risk of contracting the particular flu that is most abundant that season by 40 to 60%. Flu viruses last no more than 2 hours on a given surface, And with a flu virus, much like a cold, you're contagious about 24 hours prior to first symptoms. You are most infectious when experiencing the peak of the bad symptoms and when feeling better. So here's how to avoid flu viruses. Number 1, strengthen your immune system. The last line of defense against flu viruses is a part of the immune system called the innate immune system. And this is a part that acts as a barrier and is generalized, doesn't discriminate, to all colds, flus, and bacteria. So when a cold or flu enters your body, your innate immune system immediately launches an attack before the cold or flu, the flu we're talking about here, is able to spread. The virus is able to act as the parasite that it is and take over as many cells. The innate immune system immediately launches that attack. However, and I want to be clear on this, just because the flu virus has entered your body, it doesn't mean you will experience the full-blown symptoms of having a flu. And the same applies for a cold, okay? Because your immune system is fighting here and it can battle it before the flu gets out of hand. Keys to strengthening your immune system are exercise, sleep, intermittent fasts, short bouts of stress, nasal breathing, low sugar fermented foods, e.g. yogurts, swirling water around your mouth and swallowing, heat exposure. Exercise improves the functionality of your immune system. If you don't get enough sleep at night, your innate immune system won't be as effective. Intermittent fasts have been shown to boost the innate immune system. And short bouts of stress that don't have any particular impact on the innate immune system can actually boost the innate immune system. Become a nasal breather. Because what this does is it keeps your nasal microbiome, which is the community of microorganisms that live in your nasal passage, healthy. That is the healthy bacteria that you need that helps fend off viruses, okay? And it's actually known that mouth breathing children and adults typically get more colds and flu viruses than nasal breathers. So it's a no-brainer, become a nasal breather. If you need help with that, I highly recommend using tape. It can be duct tape, any form of tape over your mouth, particularly when you are asleep, because often if you're a mouth breather when you're asleep, you are a mouth breather when you're awake. So place a tape over your mouth when you're asleep, and you will find that you end up inevitably breathing through your nose, which is what you want. Low sugar fermented foods, for example, yogurts, is great for the gut microbiome, is great for the, as I said before, the healthy bacteria that are in your gut, which is really important to help keep your immune system thriving. Swirling water around your mouth and swallowing each morning can also really help. Don't ask questions, just do it. Something like that. It's to do with the bacteria that builds up in your mouth. Some of it isn't bad, some of it's actually good bacteria, as I said before. So you want to simply swirl the water around your mouth and swallow it. And finally, heat exposure, such as a sauna, very much helps to spike your cortisol levels, which in actual fact, as I said before, a little bit of stress is good, short bouts of stress is good, boosts your immune system. Now, I want to cover a very common problem for people on self-improvement when they contract a cold and flu virus. Okay, so just shut your eyes and imagine you've contracted a cold or flu virus, you're feeling groggy, you're feeling rough, but you want to carry on the self-improvement practices of gymming, exercising are the two main ones that you can't do. Your work, your mission, your purpose, relationships, seeing other people. How do you carry on being on self-improvement? Namely, how do you carry on exercising with a cold or flu? The question is, can you exercise when you have a cold or the flu virus? Now, the short answer is, it depends how unwell you actually are. A good rule of thumb is, am I tired at a point in the day when I'm not usually tired? If the answer is yes, then you shouldn't exercise. And you should try to do this one thing. Be as still as possible. Be as still and as relaxed as possible. Don't move. Literally, don't move if you can. i.e., sit very still in a chair or lie down in a bed. Simple as. Because if you are tired at a point that you wouldn't normally be tired, you are very likely coming down with something. However, if you are not as tired, or not tired when you normally would be, then a little bit of exercise, as I said before, can actually be a good thing. Short bouts of stress, that little bit of cortisol can help boost your innate immune system. So it's up to you, but find the right balance and keep that rule of thumb in mind. Am I tired at a time when I wouldn't normally be? It's 3 p.m. I'm tired. Okay, be as still as possible. I'm not tired. Okay, a small amount of exercise will help boost my cortisol levels, give me that little bit of spike, which will help boost my innate immune system. So I'm going to do it. But I want to make this really clear. If you do intense exercise when you are run down, you are compromising the functioning of your innate immune system. You are helping the virus, the flu or cold virus, win the battle. You are putting yourself at risk. So do not do intense exercise. Do not do any exercise if you feel tired at a time when you wouldn't normally, and if you genuinely feel run down. And here's a little side note that I thought would be worth raising that I found in my research of this avoiding colds and flu viruses, and it's this. It's to do with the yellow crust that you have in your eyes in the morning. It's quite interesting. That is actually dead bacteria that's built up from the night of sleeping. So whenever we call it sleepy dust, whenever you're annoyed at the fact that you have little bits of yellow here and here, it's actually a good thing. It's bacteria that your eyes have ensured don't enter your eyes. So it's a good thing. I'll leave you with that thought. I hope this helped. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.